the Ford food chain. Instead of doing the top 10 teams in the NFL, it's a little long-winded. Let's shift to the top 5 teams. Let's shorten it down a little bit, make it a little more concise. My top 5 teams, this is really difficult. You could really, with the exception, I think with one of these teams, I think you could really order the top 4 in any way you want, and I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it. So we'll start at number 5. Number 5, I have the New England Patriots. They have the best secondary in the NFL. Devin McCourty and Stephon Gilmore have 9 total interceptions combined. McCourty has 5, Gilmore has 4. That duo of cornerbacks, I think, is the best in the NFL. They're also second in total defense as far as allowing yards per game. It's right there. I think it might be the best defense in the NFL, if not, definitely the second best defense. It is right there. A tremendous defense, and defense wins championships. They also have a terrific special teams unit, and they have the best coaching in the NFL. Bill Belichick is the best coach, has the best staff, all incredibly smart, and they know how to do a lot with a little. The only problem I have with the New England Patriots is they're 18th in total offense, and they have a struggling offensive line. They cannot run the football to save their lives. And Tom Brady, he is 42 years old. He is not playing the same way that he has in a while. Granted, he doesn't have the same weapons around him. He doesn't have Rob Gronkowski anymore. Mohamed Sanu has been out. He still has Julian Edelman, that's his number 1. That's his go-to. But really, other than that, he doesn't have a lot. And I got to give him credit because he's doing so much with very little offensive weaponry around him. The running game is struggling, although they have 3 or 4 backs that really share a lot of snaps. But the defense is what's carrying this team, and that can only take them so far. I think the Patriots are going to have to play a little bit better offensively. I'm not going to count them out because that's a mistake. You don't count out the New England Patriots. I made that mistake last year. But they're going to have to play a little bit better offensively to make me believe that they're in the top 3 or 2 teams in the league. Number 4, I've got the New Orleans Saints. Now, they're around middle of the pack in total offense as well. They're 13th in total offense, 11th in total defense, but Cam Jordan leads the league in sacks with 13.5, and I think that's vital for the success of the New Orleans Saints. Their pass rush has been dominant all year, and Cam Jordan is leading the way and making an impact. And another thing for the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees is another older quarterback. He can't move the ball down the field as well as he used to anymore. And of course, durability is a little bit of a concern because he injured his thumb earlier in the year on his throwing hand. That could become a problem for him later on. We don't know. But they have to feed the ball to Michael Thomas, who I think is the best receiver in football. He leads the league in receiving yards with 1,290. And I think the success of that offense runs through Michael Thomas. I don't think it runs through Alvin Kamara. Kamara has struggled over the past several weeks. He has been injured. And he hasn't been effective or as effective this year being the lead man, being that lead back. They had Mark Ingram last year, who is a number 1 back in his own right, playing in Baltimore now and having an incredible year. But he hasn't really dominated in that number 1 role like I thought he would and like many thought he would. I think this offense has to run through Michael Thomas, getting him the ball early and often, feeding him the rock, and then Cam Jordan coming off the edge, getting to the quarterback. That's how the New Orleans Saints are going to have to run. And they're doing a great job sitting atop their division. And I thought they were going to take a step back this year, but they've surprised me. And they're right in the thick of things in the NFC. Number 3, I've got the Seattle Seahawks. They're number 5 in total offense. And I think Russell Wilson, he's a step behind Lamar Jackson for most valuable player in the NFL. But has been absolutely incredible. A wizard with his feet. Doesn't take off like he used to. He is very, very, very good situationally, and is just so smart and so clutch at the end of games. And he's been extremely efficient, only a couple of interceptions on the season. The Seahawks, another team that we keep saying every year is just kind of going to be in a rebuild mode for maybe a couple of years, and then Russell Wilson will be back, but they just never go away. My only issue with the Seahawks is that they're 24th in total defense, and that's something that in the past we used to point to with the Seahawks and say that is the strong suit of their team. It's their defense. That's what carries them. It's not Russell Wilson. It's the defense. It's the Legion of Boom. But their defense is nowhere near what it used to be. Their defense is, quite honestly, one of the worst ones in the league, bottom 8. And now it's Russell Wilson's team. He leads the charge offensively and carries his football team. So the defense is going to have to step up if the Seahawks are going to make a deep playoff run, but I don't think they can, given the way their defense plays. Now, they do win a lot of close games, and that's going to benefit them in certain situations. But I think once it comes down to the NFC Championship Super Bowl, I don't think they can get there with their defense as currently constructed. Number 2, we got the Baltimore Ravens. This one was really tough. I think you could have flip-flopped this one either way. But I've got the Baltimore Ravens at number 2. They're first in total offense with 433 yards, and they're also first in rushing, over 200 rushing yards a game. And they're a top 10 defense, 10th in total defense. Just extremely balanced, quite possibly the most balanced team in the NFL. And Lamar Jackson, he's actually 9th in the league in rushing, averaging 79 a game, has 6 rushing touchdowns. I think that is the most important component of this Ravens offense is Lamar Jackson's running ability, especially once you get into these colder months, because throwing the football is not going to be as efficient. It's not going to work as well when it's colder, it's snowing, raining, whatever it is. I think Lamar Jackson's running ability is going to be more evident in these later weeks. And I think it's the most crucial part of the offense because teams don't really know how to play it. He is so elusive, so fast, so quick. It seems almost impossible to bring him down or run him down. Plus, Lamar Jackson has shown that he can throw the ball this year. He had 5 touchdown passes against the Los Angeles Rams. So, definitely in line for MVP. I think he's number 1 in the MVP running. And his running ability, I think, is the most unique part about this team. And I think that's what makes it so challenging to play them because you don't know how to defend the run. But the Ravens, first in total offense. They have the best offense in the league. They're at number 2. Number 1, I've got the San Francisco 49ers. Now, these two teams playing today. So this could be a little subject to change, but I've got the 49ers at number 1. They're 6th in total offense, but they're first in total defense. They have the best defense in football. And Jimmy Garoppolo, top 10 in the league as far as rating with quarterbacks. And coming off that ACL injury, was a little ginger to start, but really settled in, and he is now leading this team, making tough throws, anticipatory throws, and a few comeback wins this year. Dominated the Green Bay Packers last week. I mean, the 49ers look good, and Nick Bosa, the best player on the field defensively for the 49ers. They're just so good. And right now they're in the toughest part of their schedule. They're in the middle of a 3-game gauntlet playing the Packers last week. Then you play the Ravens this week. And then I believe they have the Seahawks next after that. So let's pull up the 49ers schedule here. 49ers schedule. Oh, they have the Saints. They have the Saints after this. So, I mean, these are all first-place teams. You played the Packers. You destroyed them. You're playing the Ravens, currently tied at 17 in the fourth quarter. And Then you play the Saints, who are a first place team, and you're trying to hold off the Seattle Seahawks, who beat you earlier in the year, handed you your only loss to this point. And once that record becomes even, the Seahawks hold the tiebreaker. That NFC West race is really, really tight. And this is going to be really telling about how good these 49ers really are, because the knock on them earlier in the year is that they weren't playing anybody. But now they're playing the Packers, the Ravens, and the Saints. And they'll have the Seahawks one more time as well. It's going to be really interesting to see where the 49ers stack up and if they can conquer this 3-game stretch that they have in front of them and maintain pace in the NFC West. So that is my Ford Food Chain top 5 teams in the NFL according to me. Number 5, the New England Patriots. Number 4, the New Orleans Saints. Number 3, the Seattle Seahawks. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 1, the San Francisco 49ers.